One of the many barriers that made it really challenging for me to begin hormone therapy was injecting myself with a needle. And I realized that I have a lot of needle trauma. And yes, I have hella tattoos and piercing, but that's different. It's like surface level. I realized that, ever since I was a kid, my relationship with needles have always been forceful. So for example, every time I go to the doctors with Nancy, my twin, for some reason, they always made me go first. The doctor would physically hold me down and inject whatever shot in me. And in those moments, I realized I was having a trigger moment because that was representative of one of my core traumas, and that was around me being raped. And I think the process of feeling like I have to surrender to this person, having something go inside me that I don't know, and just not feeling safe, not being able to practice choice. My relationship with needles, even as an adult, has always been really hard, where my heartbeat is always just racing. So after talking to my therapist and talking to a lot of community members, specifically folks who are on T, I've tried to get tips on how do people navigate this if they have any anxiety around needles. I know there are options around avoiding needles. You can still be on hormones without injecting. There are things like topical gels where you can put on your arm or around your body, but that's on a daily basis, and that was just too much for me because I already had to drink water, I have to floss, I have to do my eyebrows, pluck my eyebrows. It's just too much. I couldn't add another thing to my regimen. I knew that injecting on a weekly basis aligned more with my rituals and how I wanted to navigate this journey. And I think what the shift was for me was really owning up to the power of redefining safety and what that looks and feels like for me. When I was a lot younger, I didn't have that. That choice was stripped away from me. Now I do have the choice to make a decision where this is something that I want to do, and this is something I want to embody to feel more aligned. So when I took my first shot, and that was in November 2020, it was a mess. I almost fainted after the first shot, and I remember in my head, all I could think about was hormone therapy isn't for me, and I was making all these excuses to not continue. And I think it was really scary to embody the power of choice when that was never safe for me in the past. So I ran to my housemate, who's a nurse, by the way, and I asked them, oh my God, I'm all allergic to this. And they asked me these questions like, did you eat yet? And I was like, no, I didn't eat yet. They were like, that could contribute to it. It's not usually always the case. And then they asked me a follow-up question of, were there any other allergic reactions that are popping up physically? And I'm like, no, it was all in my mind. It was what? It was all in my mind. So I realized that it was something that I was mentally struggling with. And now knowing that the shift is embodying the power of defining what safety is for me and that I have choice. So for this next dish today is gonna be scallop shooters. We're gonna take shots, not the booty shots that I take, but the shots that go in your mouth, that ones. And it's a very simple dish to make. So let's get started. What you'll need today is green onions, baby scallops, ponzu, quail eggs. Ooh, look at my arms. Tobiko, which is fish roe, butter, spoons, or a shot glass. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, I like to use more of the green part, so I'm just gonna touch that part, put it in a pot so it can grow again, do the bear claw and cut. And we wanna cut it really thinly. And then now what we're gonna do is we're going to sear the scallops. We're gonna put it in a very, very low simmer. Get it to warm up just a little bit. I'm gonna take almost an inch of butter and just toss it right in. I'm gonna spread it over here, grab the scallops, toss it all in. Okay, I'm gonna bring up the fire just a little bit up and let that cook 3 minutes to cook. Okay, so this looks about done. I'm gonna turn off my stove and set up for the ensembling part. So now the fun part. What we're gonna do is, I'm gonna take chopsticks. I'm gonna do about 2 baby scallops per spoon or per glass, whichever you use. And then do the eggs. And what I like to do is, I kind of tap it and then use the tip of my knife and just kind of run it through. Just like so. And then bloop, there it goes. And what I love about this dish is if you do this at a party, you kind of look like that person. You know, the person with the best outfit, and you're not really doing that much work, but you get all the credit. This is one of those dishes where if you want to flex, this is what it is. And this dish was inspired by, if you go to a lot of like Japanese restaurants, sushi restaurants specifically, they usually do this with oysters, but my take is just with scallops. Now, I'm gonna add the green onions and then take a spoon. You're gonna get the Tobiko eggs. Beautiful. And then with the ponzu sauce, you're just gonna do a light dash, just a small dash, because the Tobiko is already salty. You just don't wanna overpower it too much. Not that much. Dash. Oh, that was a little bit more than a dash, but okay, so there you have it. Scallop shooters, a great way to redefine safety in your belly. I'm gonna have my taste testers try this. Cheers! We have the creaminess from the scallops, the little boba tobikos popping in your mouth, the greens to bring it together, and then the ponzu with the creaminess of the quail eggs. I hope you enjoy. Bye.